Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. You're listening to the 5 Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So now you take a lot of time to educate others, and which is really cool. So you've had some success, and now you're taking the time to give back. So tell us about the ways that you give back.
Yep. So I'd say giving back, or what I would not even calling it giving back. I'd say I like the word paying it forward. I have had the blessing of learning from a lot of good people in the real estate business.
Yeah.
And I feel like there were a lot of things 11 years ago I wish I had known. So I look at it as it's my opportunity, or I'm in a position that I can convey that information to these people, to a lot of people out there who are in my position that I was 10, 11 years ago. So I look at it as paying forward and saying, what can I do differently to help those who don't know how to invest their money in a different way, in the sense of, let's say when you think real estate investments, most people are thinking go buy a house. Most people don't know how to invest or don't know anything about a syndication. And that I was that person. So I feel like I owe it to pay it forward and teach people what I'm doing, and have them benefit from the things I have benefited from. And not make it such an uphill task, because I feel like I went through the hoops to actually come to where I am. I feel like the journey could been a lot shorter.
Yeah. Yes, I resonate with all of that. The thing that you mentioned earlier, you said that essentially I'm drawing a blank on. I apologize.
That's okay.
You had mentioned earlier that you met some individuals that you work together as a team, and you're like, okay, those people are probably the tight-knit circle or the group that talks all the time about commercial multifamily syndications. Like if you're like, just like me and my commercial multifamily syndication buddies, but outside of our world, there's like very few people that know about syndication. If you're listening to this podcast, it's probably because, you saw it on LinkedIn, we're connected, we follow each other's posts, but like your second or third level influence, like he knows nothing about syndications. And so I like to hear that, Kavitha, that you're trying to, help those other people that have no clue, that syndication even exists, right?
Right. And with just a lot of, like you and we come from a tech background. If I poll tech employees or doctors or dentists or whatever, how many of them know anything about syndications? I'm willing to bet more than 90% of people have no idea what a syndication is.
Yes.
So there's huge amount of people who have no idea how to invest their money, or if they could invest their money outside of the market, because there's a lot of education on investing 401ks in the stock market. The Wall Street has done an amazing job of it, but not so much with real estate, right? There isn't commonplace knowledge that people grow up hearing about the minute they start trading. So that brings me to another point. I did education for kids recently over COVID times when they were stuck at home. So I did online webinars for teenagers and younger kids as well.
Like financial webinars?
Yes,
Oh,
financial
that's
education.
so awesome. That's so awesome.
So one of the things I talked to my kids was stock market is not the be all and end all of investments. There's a lot of other things out there that you can
Yeah.
put money into, which is not buying a single family home either, but it's way more than that.
Yeah.
So I feel like once we are on the other side and we learn about all these investments, we owe it to ourselves and to other people to actually communicate that.
100%. That's so awesome that you kind of take the time to do that and pay it forward, like you said, because there are a lot. I've heard a stat, and I couldn't cite the source, so maybe somebody can Google this and fact check me. But it's that there's as much money in private placements, or more money in private placements, than there is in the market invested.
Mm-hmm.
And so, why is it that so many vehicles, private vehicles, investment vehicles that you can invest in, and you're like, well, I've never even heard of them. Well, there's more money there than there is in the stock market. So anyways, somebody do some fact check and then let me know that bullet, or how close or far we off. But there's a ton of money running around, in private placements. So that's what we're doing. So anyway, this is awesome. Thank you very much for the conversation. And let's move forward to your general partner deals, right? Like, tell us about those 1,200 doors today. What are they? What markets are they invested in? What do you do, in those deals?
Sure. So I was planning to just get my own deal when I started syndications. I did the passives and I just wanted to buy my own apartment. But I ended up in the syndication business instead. And because I met someone who thought that I made good investor relations person, I'm very good at talking to people. So I agreed to work with this person, and I consider him my mentor, and I still work with him and meet with him every month. So I raised capital for him on the first deal. We collaborated. I'm still very involved in the deal. I was mostly on the investor relations and equity side of things for him. That was my first start, and I realized it was something I was really passionate about. Not because I didn't actually want to ask other people money, because I felt like, oh, this is awkward. Why should I go begging for money, right? But it wasn't really like that, because he reframed it to me. And I also heard a bunch of podcasts where I felt like I'm giving them opportunity to invest, right? It's a very different mindset, where you're not asking for money, you're giving them an opportunity to invest. So that's the way I approached it. And it made a whole world of difference for me once I thought about it that way, because I think, if 10 years ago someone had come to me with this opportunity, would I think that they're asking me for money or they're giving me an opportunity? So anyway, fast forward to that, I did my first deal as a GP in Atlanta, then Dallas, Phoenix, Austin, right now Houston. So a couple of deals in Dallas, one deal in Phoenix. So I've done about 6 deals so far. And actually, I also did a senior living deal in Florida recently. So that was a little bit away from the traditional multifamily deals. So I am trying to explore other asset classes very actively, because I believe there's a lot of opportunity there. Multifamily is great. That will be my mainstay. But I do think there are new asset classes, or rather existing asset classes that are new to me, that I would like to explore, because they offer great cash flow at better returns for my investors. And I also think, as myself, as a person, I want to invest and diversify my investments even within real estate across multiple asset classes as a passive. So that's kind of what I want to get to my investors in the future, is more diversification of their portfolio across multiple asset classes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I 100% agree with kind of like everything that you're saying so far. This whole conversation has been a really good one, Kavitha. I'm excited to hear it and learn something from you. I like the senior living part of it, which it's a little. You're braver than I am going into it right now with COVID, but that's probably like the time to do it, I guess, and
exactly. What Warren Buffett says, right? Be greedy or be foolish, or what is that? Be greedy when others are, what is that quote? It's something to do with when others are greedy.
Yeah.
Be fearful. Okay, that's the word. Be fearful when others are greedy, Be greedy when others are fearful. Like
I love it.
hotels, senior living. People are fearful right now. It's opportunity time.
I won't mention the deal, but I don't mind saying the city. I had conversation last night, and I know some investors buying a property in New York, and it's a hotel, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars discounted for the time and place today, and it's huge. And they're gonna get it like a $400 million discount, and they're buying it right now because they just walked on their note. They couldn't do it, and I'm thinking, man, in a year from now, it's going to turn back around, or whatever the timing is for COVID, or if not, they'll figure out, well, life is going to go on, and somebody's going to get an amazing deal, while others are fearful, they're greedy. And another Warren Buffett quote, I remember, and I thought about it when you were saying that earlier. It's okay to pass on a deal, which was Warren says, "Hey, good deals are like cars on a freeway. They're coming back and forth." So for those that are listening, like you're gonna find deals, and they're gonna pass you by, but there's another one right to replace it. They're like cars on a freaking freeway. So
yeah, and I feel like this. I feel like when it's meant for me, it will come to me. I truly believe that in every aspect of my life. Don't sweat it. Move on. And
awesome.
another thing I want to tell about senior living is the one I'm in is actually a new build. That makes me very confident because I have a two-way runway before it's open. And the good thing about that is 2 years, I believe, is plenty for us to come out of whatever we are in right now. There will be a vaccine in 2 years. We can't live like this in 2 years. So I'm hopeful, and I'm optimistic.
It's mid-November 2020, and a few days ago, Pfizer just said, they've got this, kind of working on this vaccine, 90% kind of ish. And the doctor said, hey, normally 40 or 50% at this point is really good. So 90% success-ish. They're like, okay, man, I'm excited. And so,
that's awesome.
we're moving forward as people, and science and all that good stuff. And excited for it. So anyways, this has been an amazing conversation. I have maybe one or two more questions before you go, but I would be amiss if I didn't say where to reach out to you. So Kavitha, where can our audience, network, listeners, or viewers on YouTube, if you're watching, where do we go reach out to you if we want to get in your world?
My company is called Cherry Street. I think I have it right, like here somewhere on my thing. It's Cherry Street Investments. It's just all spelled out, cherrystreetinvestments.com. I also have a YouTube channel with the same name. So I post a lot of content on YouTube. So please look me up, subscribe to my YouTube, because I'm constantly trying to grow my YouTube content. And I really want to help people grow their understanding of investments outside of the stock market.
Yeah, that's awesome. And hey, on the note of education, I love the fact that, today's time and age, we're putting all this content, these podcasts, the videos, the recording, the education. How would you recommend somebody get started to be a general partner in multifamily? Give a couple of tactical steps, from your experience. What do you see the highest success rate for somebody to jump in?
I think you need a mentor. That's like point A, invest in yourself, invest in your education. There's no shortcuts to that. I mean, there's absolutely none, especially if you want to be a general partner and you want to leverage other people's money to invest into larger deals. You owe it to yourself to actually go educate yourself with a mentor, because having a mentor kind of cuts short a lot of the the mistakes you can make. And you don't want to make $1 million mistakes. These are big buildings. These are a lot of people's money in the deals. So I think that's one. The second is become a passive first. Put your own money in the deals. When you have your money online, you'll do your due diligence. You're not going to just throw your money away, hopefully. Yeah. So I think it's important. Like I got a mentor. I invested passively. I started learning more as a passive, much more than I needed to as a passive, because I knew that I was going to go to the general partner side. Give to others, share freely, because when you add value to other people's journey, it'll come back and help you, right? It's just a win. Create win-win situations, right? I've dealt with some people who are always looking out for themselves, and I will never work with a person like that. So I will only work with people who are looking to create win-win situations for others, because I feel like that's where I am in my life right now. So I think if you start looking at, don't ask what am I doing for myself, ask how am I helping others. And one of the mentors called Rod Cleef was very instrumental for me to kind of just understand this concept of adding value to others. He said, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much value you add. Because if you add the value, the money will come. I think that mindset is super important, because if you ask how much money am I going to make, that's not a good starting point. I mean, that might be an end goal, but that's not a good goal to have initially. I think it's about how many people you can impact and what value you can add to their life.
Yeah. I love it.
And coming to that value add, the way I started was I did a meetup, and then I went to this webinar format, which works for me because I'm mostly talking to passive investors, right? They don't want to come drive up at 7 o'clock in the evening after work, but they can hop on the computer and learn something. So I think it's really important to keep in mind who your end avatar or goal, end audience is. Who are you trying to reach? What does that persona look like? And you need to tailor your message, or you need to tailor how you're bringing that message based on that audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%, right?
For me, webinars work. I do them every 2 weeks. I have a huge network. I invite a lot of the best speakers in that particular asset class to come speak. So that's organically really worked for me. And you need to find out what your strength is. And I know people who don't do webinars, but they're really good at connecting to people one-on-one, and that's their gift, right? So I think you need to play to your strengths and not do something everybody else is doing, because which doesn't play to your strengths.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All good insights. Thank you, Kavitha. And is there anything that I didn't ask about or bring any exposure to, or anything that you wanted to, make sure we highlighted today that just didn't get around to asking you?
No, I think you covered it all. Just, if you're interested in learning and educating yourself and furthering your education, you're welcome to attend my webinars. You can follow the link at sherrysheet.com/webinars. So, that's it.
All right. Well, Kavitha, thank you very much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. It's been fun hanging out, and look forward to, learning more, hearing more from you, continuing seeing you on social platforms, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome.
Thank you, Abel. Hopefully I'll see you in person as well someday.
Yeah, since we're up the road.
I come to Austin, and I come to San Antonio. You should, when you come to Austin, hopefully COVID will be a thing of the past. So
yes, ma'am. All right. Well, thank you very much. Again, my name is Abel Pacheco. I'm your host for the 5 Talents podcast. And if you've enjoyed something today, if you've learned something, you got some golden nuggets, I would encourage you, please subscribe to our podcast, like us or rate, and leave a written review. They're so valuable. Do the same thing. Reach out to Kavitha's multiple platforms, and give her some support as well. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you on our next episode. Bye, Kavitha.
Bye, Abel. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who follow their dreams and achieve massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked, tell us your favorite guest, give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents podcast.